What's up, guys? My name is Miles.
And my name is Fez.
And this is The Commodity. And today we are hitting a brand new country, Geography Now, Brunei. This video was suggested by Denzel Kim in our comments section. As Fez says, yes, we do check our comments. It's just a little more complicated.
Well, yeah, like it's more
sort
effort.
You got to sort through the comments and the suggestions. Whereas if you were in our Discord and you go to the video suggestion box, you can go ahead and throw a link to the videos you want us to react to. That way you can get shouted out on a video too. And if you want to do that, the link is in the description to the Discord. The
other way to get a shout out on our videos is to join our members program. There's a join button right next to the subscribe button, which you should go ahead and push as well as bell notification, which is next to that one as well. It helps us greatly. Both, yes. all three of those buttons help us a ton. However, if you hit the join button, it does cost money, and we appreciate it if you do click that and give us money.
But you don't have to.
You don't have to. We
guys,
just appreciate it.
Also, if you like this video, give it a like because that helps us get this out to more people. Truly, in my opinion, the like button is the most important. Obviously, we want people to subscribe, hit the bell notification, but it only takes a few seconds to hit the like button. So go ahead and click on that. And with that being said, let's hop in and check out Brunei.
Let's do it.
Brunei, the oil-rich guy. Brunei, the oil-rich guy.
He's so dumb.
90s references. You kids today have no idea what you missed out on.
I got his hair right now. If I let the hair just out on the side.
To learn geography now. Hey everybody, I'm your host.
When I say he's dumb too, obviously he's stupid smart. He's
and he's
very
entertaining.
Smart.
He's just silly is really the word that you're using.
He's goofy.
Yeah.
Barbie,
he's entertaining.
Brunei is kind of like the master of being quietly rich. That's all I got. Let's dissect the flag. The flag of Brunei is one of the most misleading flags in the world because when looking at it from a distance, you could swear it was an anchor on a flag, but if you look closer, it's not. First of all, the flag has a yellow field with two diagonal black and white stripes, as the white stripe is a little thicker than the black.
It's a beautiful design.
I don't know if I should say this, but I think it looks like it should be on a ship. Like he said anchored, but I'm picturing more of
like on the side of
like this is a boat.
Mm-hmm.
This is the water, and then this is the whatever they call it, the perch, the lookout, or whatever. And then you got your flag on the top with a little pirate.
It does look similar to how you're explaining it.
Yeah. So like I saw it, I was like, it looks like it's kind of sinister too with the colors.
Yeah.
Because it's on a black and white background with the red and the yellow in it. It's kind of dope. I dig.
Oh, it's a beautiful flag.
And then you have the national crest in the center. The yellow represents the Sultan of Brunei and traditionally means royalty in many Southeast Asian regions. The white and black refers to the chief ministers, the Penigran Bendahara, or the first minister, and the Penigran Pemancha, the second minister who deals with foreign affairs. In the middle is a parasol representing royalty. On the sides are two hands signifying benevolence of the government. Underneath is a crescent with the national motto written in Arabic, render service to God's guidance. And below it is another banner with the inscription Brunei Darussalam, which means Brunei, the abode of peace. No, seriously though, look at the flag. It looks like there's an anchor on it when you look at it from a distance. Oh, Brunei, you and your confusion fanatics. Oh, Brunei. Where are you? No, but seriously, Brunei is pretty good at playing global hide and seek. Almost as good as East Timor, and don't forget little Liechtenstein. So anyway, Brunei is located on the island of Borneo, the only island...
There's Liechtenstein. Oh, it's off of... A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger from Liechtenstein. I didn't know that was a real place. I'll be honest. That's kind of cool.
In the world owned and inhabited by three separate independently sovereign nations, the other two being Malaysia and Indonesia. I mean, technically Cyprus is under three separate people groups, however the north part isn't a complete state as it's only recognized by Turkey. And then you have the UN buffer zone, which technically makes four people groups, but that's a whole nother different story. Anyway, back to Brunei. Now, here's the funny thing about Brunei. Brunei sits on the top of the island of Borneo on the mid-north shore, completely surrounded by Malaysia's Sarawak.
So that's very close to KK.
Yeah, no, it's like right, but it's between KK and the other one that he just said that I didn't catch.
Well, it's between because if I'm not mistaken, this is Indonesia. KK's like right here, I believe.
Go back.
Brunei sits on the top of the island of Borneo on the mid-north shore, completely surrounded by Malaysia's Sarawak state, right under the South China Sea, below that.
So, and then north of that is still another state of Malaysia.
Okay, yeah, then KK's up here.
Yeah.
Sarawak's down here. That's where Cheap Cheap lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sovereignty limbo nautical chaotic atolls known as the Spratly Islands. Oh, Spratly Islands. You're like the last sugar glazed donut in a donut shop full of obese children. People don't hate you for yourself,
Are we
but
there?
you sure make them hate and fight each other. Brunei is interesting in that if you look at the map, it's actually split into two non-contiguous segments. The larger
that's
and more
crazy.
heavily populated
Yeah.
western side made up of 3 districts: Belait, Tutong, and Brunei Muara, where over 95% of the population lives. Then there's the eastern part, also known as the Temburong district, where only about 10,000 people
Wow.
live. The reason why Brunei is split up into 2 parts is because back in 1890, the Limbang district was ceded to Sarawak, which is now part of Malaysia, by the Raja of Sarawak, who was actually a white British guy. That's right, Malaysia had this weird lapse in time called the White Raja period, but that's for another episode. Back to Brunei. This means the only way you can get over from the western side of Brunei to the Temburong district in the east is to either take a boat across the bay and go through the Labu River, or drive on the Jalan Kuala Lura road into Malaysia
That's
until
crazy
you reach the border along
that
the
you have to
Kibi
go
River.
through one
When you reach
country to get to the
Limbang,
same
you can either
country.
park your car and take a boat.
You know, we have the same thing here. I want to say it's either Minnesota or Michigan. I think it's
No,
Minnesota.
but I'm talking about like full on country.
No, or maybe it's further west. There's a part of the U.S. that you have to drive through Canada to actually get to the other part of the state.
But there's no way to just go under or around.
It's within, because it's based off of the river flow, and all rivers change over time. Their
Right.
flow, because of time, isn't what we make it. It's what the moon and
Mother Nature.
yeah, like what the universe makes it. And so as the river moved, so did the border. So now you have part of the U.S. I mean, it's a small part,
Right.
but there are people that live here but go to school over here. So they have to literally go through Canada to get to the rest of the contiguous states.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Which I've never, it's nothing like this. It's
Right.
this is a whole nother level.
Right across the river. But if you want to keep driving, you have to go about 5 miles or 8 kilometers further south on the AH-150 highway and take the bridge that enters into the towns of Puni and
Fly
Bangar, Brunei.
helicopters.
This is the only
Right.
bridge that crosses the Kibi River into Brunei. The capital is Bandar Seri Begawan in the western segment in the Brunei Muara district on the Brunei River, which dumps into the Brunei Bay.
Brunei.
As the largest city,
What?
as well as the cultural
Yeah.
river, which dumps into the Brunei Bay.
Brunei named a lot of things after itself.
Oh.
As the largest city, as well as the cultural and economic hub of all Brunei, Bandar Seri
That's
Begawan's
cool.
entire
That's like an-
metropolitan region hosts nearly half of the entire
Wait,
population
isn't
of
Brunei-
In Bandar
Is Brunei the country where the king or sultan, or I'm sorry, I don't want to like be rude and say the wrong thing for them, where he lives like at another level, like he's super like people are upset the way that he lives
I don't
because
know.
he goes and buys like cars and just he's like one of the richest leaders of a country in the world.
I don't know. I love the vibe of this city. It's like
That's beautiful
It's like
right
an
there.
old school kind of
Seri Begawan, you can see an
downtown
array
looking
of
vibe.
mosques, including Brunei's #1 country-defining landmark, the Sultan Omar Ali Saifuddin Mosque, built on an artificial lagoon with a
is
dome that is
gorgeous.
plated with pure gold, and a bridge that connects to the Sultan Bolkiah Maligali barge, a replica of the original barge owned by the former Sultan, adorned with intricately crafted designs and details. Across from the mosque, you reach the Kampong Ayer, also known as the Venice of the Southeast. Kampong Ayer is the world's
Oh, that's
largest
cool.
water village, in which it is a town with over 30,000
I
people
could
who
get
all
behind
live
that.
and work in stilt structures on the
30,000.
Brunei River. Everything from houses, restaurants, hospitals, and schools can be found here, all intertwined with a refined network of bridges, walkways, and docks that connect the buildings, as well
That's
as
really
water
cool.
taxis that zip around transporting the locals. Otherwise, the other districts are intriguing in that they each kind of have their own designated function. Tutong is kind of known as being the middleman transporting district. Everything passes through here, and Balait is known for being the center hub for the oil and gas district. They even built a monument to the billionth barrel of oil produced in Syria.
Wow.
So yeah, as you can probably guess, oil makes up a huge factor in the economic development sector in Brunei, and it's also a resource we will discuss in Now here's where things get a little fun. For such a small country, Brunei is actually kind of jam-packed with a lot of physical contrast. Now, like mentioned before, Brunei is located on the powerfully botanically rich island of Borneo. If you don't know anything about Borneo, the one thing you should know is that pretty much everything on this island flies. Besides birds, you have flying foxes, flying geckos, flying lemurs, flying snakes, flying frogs, flying bear sharktopusses, flying bobsleds. For Brunei, most of the parts of the country that are close to the coast are in a low-lying rainforest ecoregion, and further inland you reach the mountains and rainforests with more mountains and hills in the Temburong district in the east. Now the country has an equatorial tropical climate, which means typically year-round you're going to get hot, humid weather. However, generally there are two seasons, dry and wet, the wettest months being between October and December. On the coast you can find some amazing beaches, but when you get to Jerudong, you'll find these strange-looking mushroom-shaped beaches and a large egg-shaped harbor deliberately constructed that way to combat highly erosive beaches from the
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's unique.
strong tides that come in regularly. Now here's the thing, despite the abundance of untouched wilderness, less than 2% of the land is arable and used for agriculture. Forest reserves and national parks make up about half of the entire country's area. The production of timber as an internal resource actually accounts for more revenue than agriculture in the country, which is weird because Brunei actually has amazing fertile soil. This means that the majority of food actually has to be imported into Brunei from various neighboring nations like Japan, South Korea, and China. Once again,
more
even
expensive.
though they have very fertile soil. Brunei's government even owns a cattle ranch in Australia, larger than the size of their entire country, which supplies most of the country's beef products. Why isn't Brunei interested in cultivating all that potential harvest land? Da-da-na-na, you guessed it. Oil. Over 95% of Brunei's entire economy is dependent off of their oil and liquefied hydrocarbon production. The Royal Dutch Shell Company operates the country's only and, quite frankly, very profitable oil refinery. This is the reason why many Dutch and European expats typically can be found working in Brunei, especially in the coast by Seria, in the Balait district, where oil was discovered in 1929. Why won't you grow food for yourself, Brunei? You have the perfect soil! We got oil, plus we're like helping the rainforest and stuff, and yeah. Of course, that means that Brunei has a lot of offshore oil reserves that...
Let us know how you feel about the way that's designed.
Like more focused on the oil.
Then
Now, I'm curious if it's hugely oil, so here in the States, especially in Texas, if you work in the oil industry, when oil is running, people are making insane amounts of money. I'm talking about from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, if you work on an oil rig, you make
well past the six-figure mark.
Not well past.
I mean, you're well into the six-figure.
You're doing good.
However, the challenges are a lot of the time you work 30 on, 30 off or something.
Or 14 on, 14 off, things like that.
But it seems like people that do that spend so much money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They spend their money as fast as they get it. For you guys, if you work in the oil industry, is it the same? Like, is it a good living working that?
Now, if you like in West Texas, in what is the two cities that are big? Where
Midland
and I forgot what the other one is. Midland and Odessa.
Yeah.
So those are two very big oil areas, which is crazy because since they do make so much money in those areas, and it's a cruddy place to live.
Oh, it's a terrible place to live.
It's super racist, super like you go there, it's in the past, it's dusty. It's literally in the basically a desert more or less. But the people make so much money that rent
is expensive.
It makes downtown Dallas seem cheap.
Yeah.
Like you can get like one apartment for like a 1-bedroom apartment is like for us here $1,200 to $1,400 probably. Mm-hmm. For them it's like $2,500.
Yeah. I don't think Alyssa's was that bad. It wasn't very nice though either.
Yeah.
So
and it really depends on what part of town, I'm sure.
Right.
Because you don't want to drive hours to get to work and all that kind of stuff, especially if you're doing this kind of work. That's a tough job.
Right. Let us know if you're in the industry yourself.
Yeah, definitely. We're curious how different it is.
Yeah.
The majority of people depend on their economic output. Now let's talk about the people that depend on that. Now, I'm not saying that Brunei is like the Monaco of Southeast Asia, but yeah, I guess I kind of am.
Okay.
But it has Sharia law. The country has about 417,000 people, and ethnically, about 66% of the people in Brunei identify as Malay, as in just like the people from Malaysia, Malay, except they have a distinct Bruneian Malay culture. About 11% are Chinese, 4% indigenous, as in people coming from tribes like the Kedayan and the Bisaya, and to a small extent even the Sama Biaju, which sometimes are referred to as Sea Gypsies. 2% Indian, and the remaining 17% comes from a wide range of other nationalities like Filipinos, Arabs, and even whites, most of whom are expats working for the oil industry. Language-wise, Brunei is kind of funny because although Malay, or more specifically Bruneian Malay, is the official language, and to some degree the Kedayan language, which is kind of similar to Malay, most people speak English as a second language, even though many signs are posted in Malay and Arabic. Furthermore, a large portion of the country speaks Mandarin as a second language, even though English is more widely taught, even though there's a huge Dutch expat community.
That's confusing.
The thing is, most Dutch people speak English anyway.
Okay, so we're going to go back a little bit, but I'm not going to click on anything. So this is a stupid question. I should have probably asked this a long time ago. So Islam uses Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I'm just out of curiosity, because wouldn't they have been speaking different languages when all these things took place?
I don't know.
Because, like, I mean, it's like if you're a Christian, you're not reading. I mean, you can, because if you go to school for theology, you're learning things like biblical Hebrew and Greek and all these different languages.
Where did you guys adopt Arabic?
Because I'm sure it has something to do with it along the road. But at this point, if I were to go to church, I'm not reading in
Hebrew.
You
Right.
know, I'm reading in English. So that's why I'm asking. I'm not trying to be rude or mean. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Even though there's a huge Dutch expat community, but then again, most Dutch people speak
I mean, it
English
looks cool.
anyway.
Don't get me wrong.
Just speak English here and you'll be fine. Okay. This all had to do with Brunei being a British protectorate, yada yada yada. The linguistic impact left a mark. Brunei is also considered one of the richest countries per capita in the world, with
Really?
the average income surpassing $50,000.
That just
Culture-wise,
answered our
Brunei has its
question.
distinctions. You'll notice a lot of women wearing the tudong, or the traditional head covering, and a lot of men wearing the songgok, or the Malay cap. Now,
Sorry to pause it again. If the average income, or the average income is 50,000, is the cost of living high in Brunei?
Well, he said it's like, what is that town that he just compared it to?
Morocco.
Morocco. Was it Morocco? No, it wasn't Morocco. It was.
Started with an M.
Yeah, it's where they do all the car events.
Yeah.
I can't even think of it all of a sudden. But that place is really expensive to live.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, they do like ultra high-end cars.
Let us know if it's expensive to live in Brunei.
I'm guessing.
Here's where things get a little squinty eye shruggy. In 2014, Brunei became the first country in Southeast Asia to introduce a Sharia law penal code on a nationalistic level. This institution is still being carried out in legislative phases, but essentially it has caused a lot of controversy. The ruling was instituted by the Sultan of Brunei, Hassan al-Bolkiah. First of all, let's talk about this guy. Although getting an exact estimate is kind of tricky, Forbes speculates that about $20 billion sits within the net worth of the Sultan. And here's a small list of things that he owns. A palace with over 1,700 rooms, 250 bathrooms, 5 swimming pools, a banquet hall that holds over 5,000 people, a private zoo, over 9,000 cars in a collection with several vintage and custom-made cars. He even built a stadium on his 50th birthday and paid Michael Jackson $17 million to perform 3 concerts there. And let's not even mention all those yachts. That's to say that you can kind of conclude that the Sultan lives in a very lavish and opulent lifestyle. People have complained that the Sultan's controversial, over-the-top escapades and personal actions have made he himself a violator of the very Sharia law that he has instituted. This has also concerned many of the non-Muslim residents of Brunei, as it's kind of unclear how this new law will affect them. Nonetheless, despite the shaky political disposition, people in the country are generally happy with their high standard of living and welfare, and generally enjoy the overall trajectory that the country is headed in. Let's see what other countries think about that trajectory. To make this simple, Brunei's relations have a lot to do with history and money. As a member of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, Brunei has bilateral agreements with generally all their immediate neighbor nations and enjoys good trade and business transactions with each of them. To some, generally all their immediate neighbor
You
nations
got money?
enjoys
Let's
good
trade. Only if you help us fight Bear Sharktopus.
I didn't even catch it. It's moving so fast.
To some extent. You would think Malaysia would be the best friend of Brunei, and they are pretty close. They both speak relatively the same language and have a deep cultural resonance with each each other. However, some Bruneians would actually consider Singapore and the Philippines their best friend. Brunei and the Philippines signed a memorandum of understanding that sought to strengthen the bilateral cooperations of the two countries in the fields of agriculture and farm-related trade and investments.
Okay,
Basically, the
that's cool.
Philippines gives them a lot of food. For Singapore, they agreed to allow Singapore to join them and train its armed forces with Brunei. Brunei and Singapore have a currency exchange agreement in that both currencies...
So that makes a lot of sense because we did watch the Singapore video, and it's, you know, it's literally a city.
Right.
So it makes a lot of sense
City,
if they
country,
send
state.
over their soldiers over there.
Yeah. City, state, country.
City, state, country, planet, Death
Universe.
Star.
in both countries can be
Universe.
used interchangeably in both nations. The Brunei dollar and the Singapore dollar are maintained at par. In conclusion,
wow.
it's interesting to see where
That's
Brunei
kinda
will
cool.
head with the juxtaposition of high revenue output and disputably strict legislation, but either way you see it, Brunei is one small place with one huge story. Stay tuned, Bulgaria is coming up next. Hey, Judder.
I think this is one of the better ones as far as like,
And it was actually one of the shorter ones.
yeah, it was super short,
I think
but
this was the shortest geography now.
but it's super intriguing because it's very different from the rest of the countries around it.
Right.
And it's so small, and how it's like literally right between. Now I know Indonesia and Malaysia are different and very different in multiple ways. However, I feel like a lot of it is the same. Like,
There's a lot of similarities. Yeah.
Now I feel like there's similarities with Brunei amongst them, but I feel like it's a very, very, very different as far as like overall.
Right.
So I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. Obviously, it's different that they don't cultivate their land. They have their reasons behind it. Let us know.
But it's
if,
such a small. The thing is, it's so small that I feel like you would want to. But I guess if you're making a lot more money than like the areas around it,
Right.
I just wonder what the cost of living is.
Yeah, let us know what the cost of living is. Let us know how you guys feel about your current government system. Let us know how you feel about
How much does a Big Mac cost?
McDonald's.
Because that's actually, you know, that's a system.
Really?
That's a system of your cost of living.
Yeah.
Because in some countries, a Big Mac is $4. In some countries, a Big Mac is like $7.
Wow.
And it has
Okay.
nothing to do with import and all that kind of stuff. It has literally to do with
Cost of living.
cost of living because it's because they're making literally. I bet you a Big Mac cost McDonald's at this point like a penny to make.
Yeah.
So they market based on the social area.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments. Guys, if you liked this video, again, give it a thumbs up. It helps us get this video out to more people. Also, if you'd like to see our future videos, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. That way you guys do get informed when we do post. And again, if you'd like to help support the channel even more, you can click the join button down below.
And with that being said,
My name's Miles.
my name is Fez.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Peace.
Out.